You know, you gotta have something proper. All right, it's time to bring down. It's time to bring down this banner. It's time to bring down this banner for the world to see all the things that we're gonna be doing. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome, you wonderful human beings, to the latest episode of How It's Done, Games Radar's weekly developer talk show. My name is Anthony John Agnello. I am the senior social editor here at Games Radar. I am your host today. With me at the moment is none other than Ludwig Kitzman, our U.S. editor-in-chief. Hello, Ludwig.
Hi, how's it going?
Good! And today, we are playing a game called Enter the Gungeon. This is a early build of Enter the Gungeon. This is not the final game, as it is not finished quite yet. This is the debut work of Dodge Roll Games, who will be joining us later on the show. Dave Crooks of Dodge Roll Games is going to be joining us to tell us about Enter the Gungeon. Now,
Pretty exciting.
Ludwig, you and I have crossed paths with Dave Crooks before. This is not our first rodeo with Enter the Gungeon.
It's not. There's a story to tell.
I mean, it's not really a story. It's a set of circumstances, I suppose you could say. Do you want to paint a picture of the first time we entered the Gungeon? Actually, wait.
I mean, my art is pretty terrible. I'm just going to tell the story, I think.
Before you get there, let's explain a little about what this game is, so people don't know. Yodel said Gungeons, those were the racist fish people in Star Wars, right? Yodel, let me explain. No.
Those are Gungans.
No, and if it were the Gungeons, it all worked out because Boss Nass went to a parade. For some reason, they had a parade. Like, I guess they're like, oh, a lot of people died, and we blew up a bunch of robots, let's have a parade. And then he held up a peace ball, because that's what happens. Oh, I fell down a hole.
That's what you do. That's how you effect reparations.
There are no peace ball reparations in Enter the Gungeon.
Also, if we're going to talk about embarrassing Star Wars races that are racist, we have to start with the Nemoidians.
Are the Nemoidians the green?
Nemoidians is like when they're the diplomats or whatever at the beginning of episode 1, and they say, "Now there are 2 of them."
It's the most. See, those
and they're
are
like,
racist.
"Oh, we thought there was only 1 Jedi. Now there's twice as many Jedis."
So
our plan is foiled.
We should talk about the game, but now we're talking about Star Wars. Ludwig, do you know this is true? That you cannot legally view the original Star Wars trilogy in Kenya to this day. Do you know why?
I do not know why, but I feel like you're going to tell me.
I'm going to tell you. Neen Num, Lando Calrissian.
He's the guy who was with Lando Calrissian when they flew to the second Death Star.
The second Death Star. His co-pilot, a guy whose face looks very anatomical.
It looks like he is wearing a masquerade ball mask. Like he went to a masquerade ball. It was a horrible accident, some kind of explosion, and it got fused to his face.
It was just there forever. RD Garlic, hello to you, and thank you for coming to watch. We are very excited about Enter the Gungeon as well. Now, the reason it's banned in Kenya is that Neen Num is speaking Kenyan. He is not speaking a fictional language. He is actually speaking Kenyan, and the people of Kenya were very offended by the idea that this is how George Lucas felt that it was necessary to portray them. 32 years later, they're still pretty upset about it. I think that's RD Garlic, you got there. You got there.
It's going to take me a long time to not be upset by the prequel trilogy, so I kind of understand where that Star Wars grudge comes from.
They're the ugliest movies in the entire world. This is not an ugly game, though. Enter the Gungeon is a beautiful game. It is very un-prequel-like. Use the X button.
It is like this really fun, chunky art style, and it feels I know it feels very tailored and unique
Yeah,
compared to a lot of games in this visual style, I would say.
yeah, and so like we're in the tutorial rooms right now.
Gotta kick over that table.
Yeah, it teaches you how to. There's a lot of taking cover in this game because there's a lot of shooting in this game, and the other thing that happens in this game that you kind of can't tell. Like I was very surprised by this the first time it was demoed for me. To find out that this game is procedurally generated. Every single time you go into one level of the Gungeon and you unlock progressive levels after you fight a boss, that they remake the Gungeon from the ground up. Like, you go into a different place every time with different enemy placement, but it feels very crafted to me.
I sense an expose coming on the people who have to build Gungeons for our pleasure every single time. And we're so snobbish about it, we don't even want to see the same one twice. We're like, no, I already went through those hallways.
A different Gungeon! So that is the premise. You guys are going to see some awesome stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to be good enough to actually get to one of the bosses.
I'm sure.
Probably not.
That you're not going to be good enough.
No, I guarantee you I'm going to die.
So you can dodge the bullets. We get that. So what do you think is the secret? Like, when can you get away with procedurally generated levels? I think it's like when you have a system of action in your gameplay that creates so many unique instances, like like almost like Halo does it.
And
like, something different could happen every 30 seconds and different combinations of things.
Right.
So the game is not about like revealing something in the level per se.
Yeah, we talked
You
about
could
this.
break those down to rules, right? Like you could theoretically create rules to create an environment that does feel authored, which is fascinating.
This, then this, then this. We actually last week. This is 2 weeks in a row that we're playing games that have procedurally generated levels. Because last week we had on Jake Kasdal of 17-Bit to talk about Galaxy, which is such a great game. And Enter the Gungeon and Galaxy have one thing in common, which is that they both... If I was going to say that, like, here's the one rule for a procedurally generated thing that you need to follow, you need to either have an artistic style that is so, sparse that you will not notice a randomization in the level design because of the sparseness of the presentation. Like, you can make a procedurally generated Space Invaders and have that be okay. And I love Galaxy. I think it's an amazing game, but nobody would say that it's a visually complex game. It's beautiful. Its style is very, very cool and very, very precise, but it's still very simple. There's your ship, there are asteroids, there are other ships, there are bugs. Like, you can get away with it under those circumstances. Alternately, I think that you have to have such a variety of great sprite work that, like, no matter what combination you put it in, it will still look really cool and complex. Why can I not shoot? Why can I not shoot? The Gungeon is no place for compassion. Shoot. No, that's my map.
What are you pressing?
Ah, there we go.
What are you pressing?
It's the bumper, Ludwig. It's the bumper.
Yeah, because it'll be R1 on the PlayStation controller.
Yeah, I got it. I got there. Hoplon42, hello to you. Word, big dogs, boom. Yes. So the one
Killed
thing
that bullet. No.
The one thing that pops in my head, Luddy, for a great procedurally generated game that I think is beautiful and gets away with it, is Rogue Legacy.
Yes, although Rogue Legacy desperately needs more music.
Desperately needs more music. Oh my god, it needs more music so badly. But
Like, I like the music, but it's like, okay, beginning level.mp3 again.
Yeah, and like something I like in that game is that it doesn't just randomly generate everything. It randomly generates types of rooms. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like this time it's the spinning series of barrels that you need to break in the center of the room. This time it's the 3 tiers of very big enemies. and it puts them in different combinations, but you will remember certain rooms, which I like a lot. Oh man!
I love how the enemies are how they waddle.
Yeah, as they trundle around towards you. Screw all these benches. Do you like breaking everything in the room, Ludwig? You fan?
Yeah,
of
well, if
breaking
there's an
everything?
efficient way to do it, if you can just roll through them,
Love-
that's good.
I love-
What was it? Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands.
Which
That
one
game
was
had a
that?
lot of things. That was the fourth Sands of Time game, the one that came out at the same time as the movie,
Oh,
starring
yeah.
starring
They tried to get the
Jake
magic
Gyllenhaal.
back.
Yeah, and in that game, it was so tedious to smash all the pots. It was just more efficient to roll through them, and so you had this realistic-looking third-person action game where you would just like roll through every single room, just smash all the pots with your head. So, and that's fun as long as you can do it efficiently. If it's like too much of a time waster, then I don't know. The currency is really worth that.
Wait a second. How do I get to this teleporter? Oh, he wants me to use the map. I'm a dummy.
Use the map.
I'm doing it. I did it. I used the map, Letty. My God, there are so many wonderful
Oh, you
people
died.
here.
I saw that.
Pixel Fat Cast, hello. Pepper Sandwich, hello. Nerd Sassin, Harrow. That's not a word. I think harrow is a type of food. No, I'm thinking of caro.
Hoplon42 says that Prince of Persia film had such a good script and ruined it in the editing.
Man,
I mean, if that's what you need to tell yourself, I'm pretty sure it was just an awful script.
Letty, what is it
Terrible
about...
casting, and somehow Ben Kingsley got roped into it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how is it that Sir Ben Kingsley seems to end up in so many awful video game movies?
Isn't the story usually like, oh, my cousin or my niece or my granddaughter said, oh, I love this game, you have to be in it,
Well, he
otherwise I'll never
claims
speak to you
that,
again.
He claims that his kids love video games, so
But
he
I would
did
also say
Blood
that
Rain.
if I were in those video game movies.
Yeah, if you were in Blood Rain? Oh, crap. I'm just dying a lot. Oh, give me this chicken. Oh, I can't... See, now that's a cruel lie in this game, Luddy. There's a chicken on the ground. I have been taught by 30 years of video games that chicken equals more living in games. It's just
Do you have to
not
press the
working
button to
out.
pick it up, maybe?
No, I
Or did it just... It fell off the table. You ruined someone's chicken dinner.
Yeah, I ruined their chicken dinner. I think
That's
the only
rude.
way you get health is by oh, there's a teleporter. Is by
Hoplon42 says his little brother was in it.
what, in Prince of Persia or
Yeah.
Blood Rain? Because man,
Are you Jake Gyllenhaal's older brother?
are you secret Gyllenhaal?
You Ben Kingsley's older
Ooh.
brother?
I think I just died, buddy. Yeah, I'm like.
Oh, you don't need to tell me that. I just assume it's happening every few minutes.
I'm glitching out. Yeah, not only am I dead, I'm glitching on the wall. This is a perfect time to remind everybody that this is a early version of Enter the Gungeon. This is not a finished version of the game, and stuff like my little dude getting trapped in the wall is an unfortunate inevitability. Luddy, so we were going to tell the story of how we ended up playing Enter the Gungeon for the first time.
So, the scene is Los Angeles. It's Los Angeles.
Venice Beach.
It's Venice Beach. We are at the top of someone's fancy loft because Nathan Vella of Cappy is one of the organizers of a little independent games gathering for people to come check out really awesome games. And he does a really good job of it. He picks really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's just really well done. No complaints.
If anybody out
All
there
worth
is
it.
unfamiliar with the name Nathan Vella, or unfamiliar with what Cappy is, he is one of the guys who is behind wonderful things like Super Time Force and
Critter Crunch.
Critter Crunch, and many great games, including Below, a wonderful,
Right.
wonderful game.
So we go to this rooftop event, but because it's Los Angeles, we don't have jackets with us.
Right.
It was hot that day. But that evening it was incredibly cold, and given the additional altitude, it it was freezing.
Yes. It was like,
So
and we're
freezing.
not being like, we're not talking.
We're not being like, oh, we had to
political.
play video games and it was slightly chilly.
No,
it was
like
we were
bone-
shaking.
Yeah, and we were like in t-shirts, shaking on this rooftop, and so it's us, the guy, the man and woman behind Dishwasher Samurai, and some of the people from Ninja Theory, basically all huddling around for warmth. And
Because none of the heaters work.
yeah, none of the heaters work, and it's gotten to the point where like our interest in games is like almost fading. We cannot like muster the enthusiasm.
It was really
to play.
difficult to play this,
Yeah.
being that cold, like concentrating on the game, while your body is going, I'm dying of hypothermia, you need to do something,
Yeah.
please.
The only person who was like not feeling the cold was Nathan Vella himself, because he was just filled with bourbon, just bourbon for days.
You could actually hear it swishing around in him as he walked around.
And he was like, "I'm just so happy everybody's here. This is a great event." And it's like, "Great, man. I am dying." But somewhere,
But that's our fault. We should have taken jackets.
yes,
like, let's,
we should
yeah,
have. We should have known better. But I don't know where we found them. But all of a sudden, we found a stockpile of these ridiculous blankets that look like what Cruella de Vil would bust out when she wasn't killing dogs. And so we're huddled in these ridiculous...
I think that was Stephanie.
That was Steph, yeah?
Devolver. Yeah, she sorted us out with life-preserving blankets.
They came out of nowhere, and so we're huddled in these ridiculous leopard print shawls, looking like some like old grandmas from Belarus, begging for gruel, and we stumble
The
upon.
ghost was awesome, by the way. I liked watching that ghost.
Oh, God, this is not going well for me, Ludwig. I'm already down to half my health. And as we're huddling for warmth, the person who is going to show us a game, the thing that looks the warmest out of all these games, is a gunslinger by the name of Dave Crooks. A wonderful, wonderful man, Dave Crooks, who created this game. And Ludwig and I tried to play this in the freezing cold, and like, we played it for a long time. Or I was hypothermic and my sense of time.
You lost all sense of time.
Yeah, that's also possible. Oh God. Oh God! It's not going my way! We do have... I died. I died again. And there's this really cool, yeah,
Wait, so what are the consequences of dying? Do you lose everything? Is it roguelike?
So, yes,
Is that what we're dealing with?
It is sort of roguelike. You can get to checkpoints, I believe, and Dave will be able to explain this in more detail. Oh, Dodge Roll is already hanging out up in here. They're in the chat, making it happen. We've also got the good man Dave Roberts from Games Radar hanging out. What's up, Dave? All right, quick restart. I was killed by Bullet Gundead, who's a dingus. That's what I have to say about that guy. Ludwig, am I doing better than you expected?
My expectations are pretty low, so
So I would like
Let's
to
say
point out that usually
you are meeting expectations, which is a good thing.
Luddy, did you catch any of the stream on Tuesday? Because
For Galaxy.
no,
Galaxy.
when we talked to Jason Michael Paul, the gentleman behind.
Oh,
the
you were
Zelda
playing
Center.
Link to the Past.
Yes,
I think you were doing quite well in that one.
It's the first time I think I.
It's
have
not a
ever
new
on the
game. That's
stream-
probably why.
Yeah, I was just destroying that game. And I was like, why can't this be every stream? Why can't every single time I look like I know what I'm doing while I talk to somebody who made the game and everything's okay? Rather than
We all have
looking
our
like a
games that
yutz.
we're good at.
I think that's
Just need to
it.
find them.
That and Mario. I'm pretty good at Mario. I'm not like speedrunner good at Mario. I think we should have... Oh, wait, what is this? What is... Oh, that's a heart. I don't need that heart. Where were you when I needed you, heart? 4 hearts, which I stole from other people to eat so I could gain their power. I don't.
Do you have any other guns yet, or is that just all you're starting?
I think this
The
is
world's deadliest library.
No! I just got attacked by some kind of bats. Do I have guns? I do not have guns, I don't think. Yeah. Because my equipment thing just has the one gun. Dodge Roll has provided us. And like, if we get into the stream and I just continue to suck, Dodge Roll has provided us with a selection of delicious cheats. Delicious developer cheats that we can fire up to commit sinister treason against the game, revolt against it. Ludwig, what is your game? What is the thing that you play when you want to be like, I'm very good at this? I can do this like clockwork.
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden NES or Ninja Gaiden Xbox? Whoa.
Xbox.
Oh, God.
Or Ninja Gaiden Black or Sigma or one of those incarnations, I would say.
Oh, this is get sticky.
Maybe some Halo. I think I'm okay at Halo.
Oh, you're good at Halo, really?
Those games.
Like multiplayer, or just you know, can you beat it on Legendary and whatnot?
I mean, I can, but like I feel like it's not that fun. Like it's too tedious. But I think I'm pretty decent at multiplayer. That's my self-appointed impression.
I'm not good.
Completely wrong.
I'm not good at I'm not good at.
And I'm okay at the DOA games.
Oh yeah, I would like to play DOA with you. We should play DOA 5.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Of course, later.
Do you have it on a new system, on one of those new consoles?
I have Last Round installed on my ye old PlayStation 4.
All right, we should play that. We'll make a date.
I will. I'm terrible. Oh, nice. Have a shot, Rogue. Who's this guy? Break the targets, win a prize. I don't think I've discovered this tricksy little thing before. This is brand new to me. Let's see here. I also need to reload something on this screen. Alright, here we go. I'm going to assume, play this game, you have to break the targets in a certain number of shots. Each shot will ricochet a few times before vanishing. Break more targets to get a... Okay.
Can I just tell you a sad little story of something that I've just noticed I'm doing?
Yes.
So I have these 2 coffee cups, and they came from the same place, and I bought them both today. And I put them on either side of my desk, and every time I feel like I want to take a sip of coffee, I have forgotten which one is full and which one is empty. So I'm like, which, oh, it's this one.
Wait a second.
This is a really sad little dilemma happening on my desk as you play a fun video game.
I'm very sorry, Ludwig. I'm sorry for the challenges you... Oh, I suck at this. Alright, I'm figuring it out. Yeah! Son.
I enjoy those angry little faces on the walls.
It took me a while to realize that I wasn't supposed to hit them. Like I wasn't supposed to hit the green and red things, that they were hampering me. I would have done better. So what I'm trying to say is, to hell with you, you sinister developers who are going to be on the call with us momentarily.
At least you got stuff. You got some stuff.
I got a heart. I got half a heart. Excite Hype, it's like a wonderful mix of Ikari Warriors and Zelda. That's pretty apt. I don't hear Ikari...
Kind of a deep cut there with Ikari Warriors.
You don't hear Ikari Warriors trundled out that often anymore. I'm sure that whoever owns SNK these days is very appreciative.
Who does own SNK these days? I'm going to find out for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
While you struggle...
I'm going to find out who is responsible.
SNK. I'm going to search for SNK acquired. It was acquired by... by... all the headlines to say Chinese company.
I'm going to say Tencent. It's Tencent, right?
No, it's Liu Technologies, apparently.
Liu Technologies. Ugh. We'll never get that new Garu Mark of the Wolves that we so badly want. Said.
Oh, this is actually way more confusing than you were prepared for. It says,
oh, really?
Two different companies, Oriental Securities and Shenrong Sungki, have established a joint venture called Gungeon to invest in Lido Millennium, which is a subsidiary of Liu Technologies. And through Lido Millennium, the newly formed joint venture will pay $63.5 million to acquire 81.25% of SNK Playmore shares.
Wow.
Directly from the SNK CEO and his wife.
Wow, that's the SNK. Well, and like that's not proper SNK either. Like we should point out that the real
So SNK Playmore is different?
Yes, the original SNK became SNK Playmore in 2003. And while many staff members stuck around, they shedded like something like 90% of their workforce. And this was like right after like the Neo Geo Pocket like failed miserably, and it was a whole thing. Oh!
So do they make any more games? Because I think they just released a Metal Slug to PS4.
They make many mobile games.
Ports of Metal Slug.
Yeah, it's like do you like match 3 puzzle games with Mai Shiranui's breasts emerging in the background? As you match 3 things. That's what happens. Oh, what have I found? What do I got? What is this? Heavy bullets? Yeah. Yeah, heavy bullets. Ladies and gentlemen, just 4 more minutes till we bring in Mr. Dave Crooks from Dodge Roll Games.
Who has been taking notes and is going to coach you
he's gonna
to a
tell me
flawless
It's
into the Gungeon player.
It's going to be very different this time when we hang out, because the last time Dave Crooks taught me things, I was dying of cold. Oh, I got to the boss! The best boss ever! I love this guy.
Well, it hasn't caught up to the stream yet, but is it the one that made me lose it?
Yes, it is exactly that boss.
Oh, fantastic!
And everybody will...
Here it comes. It's about to be on the stream.
Oh, it makes me so happy. See, now this is a perfect example of
Amazing.
this is a perfect example of how different it is every single time you play this game. Because the first time I fought, I beefed it. Of course I beefed it. The first time when you and I fought this boss on that frigid, cold mountaintop, and by mountaintop I mean the bizarre home of a profoundly wealthy woman in Venice Beach, the entire arena was like stone in the center and surrounded by pits. So in order to dodge the bullets, you had to dodge over all the pits. And, like this time, there's things in front of your bullets. And it looks totally real. It looks totally accurate. Keep of the Lead Lord sucks. Damn it. Did I keep my... Let me see. Did I keep my sweet heavy bullet? I didn't keep nothing. I didn't...
Did you keep your skill set, though? Your developing skill set.
No, here
your
it is.
Affinity for shooting things and dodging out of the way.
So I do have my heavy bullet. I've kept my passive effect heavy bullet, and that's awesome. God, I love this game.
Oh, are there item descriptions?
Yes. All right. Do you want me to get
Enemy descriptions?
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh man,
This is your favorite thing?
I love item and enemy descriptions in games, and I thank every single person who has ever had to write those, because it is a thankless job. Because nobody likes reading video games.
Dead, Shotgun Dead of the Red Kin are the beefiest and most durable of the distorted race of shotgunlings, created to serve as enforcers of their smaller cousins, the Bullet Gun Dead. Shotgun Dead shoot spreads of bullets that can be dangerous when in groups. Man.
See, all of that stuff is great. Like Anthony, did you read the enemy descriptions in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse?
Yes! No,
those were
so
amazing.
Good. So good. And they were good in Triple Deluxe as well. Like, every Kirby game that's come out in the past 5 years, they're freaking awesome.
Telling you, item description people or enemy descriptions, you people are the unsung heroes of game development.
Isn't that just an item compendium, not you actually keeping it? That's actually a good point, Marvelous Mr. D. It's just showing me things that I've unlocked in the past. I no longer have my sweet heavy bullet. You know what? Dodge Roll's talking about these things in the chat. I feel like Dodge Roll should be with us. So let's get Dave Crooks on the line. Because I think that's a thing that's going to enrich all of our lives. I don't know about you. Hold on one second. We're going to get his...
You and your little cute dated terminology, like getting someone on the line.
On the line. Dave Crooks, if you're listening, turn down your radio. Turn down your radio because we don't want feedback.
We don't want feedback.
We don't want feedback. I don't think I've ever streamed a single time where I haven't made that joke. It is like the worst dad humor that I think I've ever forced on the world, and I feel good about it. I remain feeling good about it. Dave Crooks! Dave freaking Crooks! Hey, man!
Hey, nice to see you guys again.
Yes!
Staying warm?
Hey.
It's nice to see you again under
now
conditions...
it's too hot.
Yeah, now it's too hot. Now it's bullshit
seriously.
right now. Now it's too hot. Dave, I am playing... Only, no, I was about to say that I'm playing a little bit better than the last time we played this game with one another, and that's just a lie. I'm not playing better. I'm playing much worse.
Yeah, you are. Actually, I wanted to point out, I've been watching for a few minutes, and yeah, you're getting it now. You're using the right stick.
Dude. For like the first 20 minutes. For the first 20 minutes, I was like, I don't need the right stick. I'm not doing anything precision. I don't need that. But I'm better now.
No, you're definitely getting better. Yeah, for sure.
Everybody, if you are just joining us on the stream today, hello, welcome. My name is Anthony John Agnello, senior social editor at GamesRadar.com, and this is How It's Done, our weekly developer talk show. Today we have Dave Crooks of Dodge Roll Games hanging out, showing us the wonderful, wonderful thing known as Enter the Gungeon. We also have Games Radar Editor-in-Chief Ludwig Kitzman with us. Hello, everyone! That's where you guys say hello. Dave, say hello!
I thought you were talking to the chat.
Sorry. I thought you were talking to the chat, too. You gotta be more clear.
No,
bad host.
No. I'm bad. I'm a terrible host. So this is now... have I died 3 times, Ludwig?
Oh, I think you've died like 14 times.
14 times, 9 billion times. So this is my latest attempt at trying to go through the first level of Enter the Gungeon, a delightful shooter and dungeon exploration game with procedurally generated stages. Dave, lay it on me, man. How does everything in Enter the Gungeon work? You were explaining this in the chat just a second ago about what is randomly generated and what's not. You said that the rooms themselves are handcrafted, but then they're randomly ordered. What's going on here? What's under the hood?
Well, so first of all, the person in the chat was actually one of our programmers, Dave Rubel. Yeah, so he is correct. All the rooms are hand designed, so each individual like gunfight is sort of like handcrafted, and then we play it a bunch of times to make sure it's both fun and fair. Because since we have so many types of enemies in the game that can shoot so many types of bullets, it's very possible that if the procedural engine were to place 2 super hard enemies together in a particular space, that you might just have an impossible fight on your hands. So it's really important for us to like craft that sort of thing. However, all of the layouts of the floors are assembled based on, or like from a pool of like hundreds and hundreds of rooms that are hand designed. The build that you're playing right now is actually a show floor like demo, so you're going to see some repeats on the stream here. But when you like actually play the final game, you're not going to see like the same layout. Probably in 100,000.
We're gonna see repeated deaths, though.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna. With Anthony playing, for sure.
So Dave, when you showed this to us back during the pre-E3 event, we were able to finish off the giant Eagle of Doom and proceed to the next set of stages. Is that stage in this demo? I haven't progressed to that point. I haven't killed him even on my own.
Yeah, so in this demo, we've got 3 floors. There's the floor you're on, which is the castle. The next is the dungeon or the Gungeon area, and then after that is the catacombs. We have actually made Gatling Gull harder than the last time you played it. We just did it especially for you because I knew you had played the game before. So he's actually he's probably a little too hard right now, but I figure you'll probably be fine after a few tries.
It'll be fine.
That's someone is really optimistic. Is what I'm gonna say.
But we also put in a couple of bosses that I don't think have ever been streamed before. One I know we've never shown, and then another one. I think you are one of like 5 people not on, or you guys are 2 of about 5 people not on the team who've seen it, which is I think should show up on this floor sometimes.
Nice.
So
that's what I
Although
like
it's
to
Mr.
hear.
D in the chat is saying it's a goal, not an eagle. That's birdist.
yes.
All those birds look exactly the same to me. I hate birds. Wait,
Yeah,
I'm
birds
not,
are weird.
everybody, I'm not a bird racist. I am a bird racist. Bird racism is another topic of another show, not this show. It's a whole other thing. I host it with Glenn Beck, and we talk about how we hate birds. Ludwig,
You just
remind me to
slaughtered some
pitch
cute
that
blobby
show.
things. That's sad.
They had it coming. Dave, you have explained this to me before, but for the benefit of the people out there, can you tell me a little bit about like the genesis of this? Because I remember laughing really hard when you were telling me about how even the word Gungeon came up in the original conception of this game.
Yeah, actually, the way that we basically started working on the game was, I played this. Actually, the whole team played this Vlambeer game called Gun Gods, and Dose One, who does the music for our game, did the music for that game. And on the soundtrack to that game, there's this song that goes like, "I've got guns that hate Texas, guns that make breakfast, guns that wear vestments," and that just got stuck in my head. I thought it was like a really hilarious song, and so the next day I just thought of the word Gungeon and Enter the Gungeon, and so I just pitched it to one of the other guys on the team, just randomly, like, what about a game called Enter the Gungeon? And we had literally no idea what it would be, and he just said yes, and then he was like, well, what is it? And so later on that day at lunch, after we had worked out, okay, well, you know, it's clearly a dungeon crawler with guns, and then we were sort of talking about what it was like, but why would you go there? And I was like, because there's a gun that can kill the past at the bottom of it. And I can't believe that the final design of the game actually survived that nonsense, but it somehow did. And yeah, that's actually, we came up with the entire premise as a joke in one day. And then we started making it, and now it's like 18 months later.
I just,
So.
like, every single time I talked, a jetpack? What? How do I've not found the jetpack before, Dave. What does the jetpack do?
If you hit R2 or the right trigger, you can fly, but you can't dodge roll. It's good for areas with pits, but the pits don't show up until the next level.
Got it.
So it's sort of like a trade-off. Later on, there'll be areas where you have to do platforming while dodging a bullet hell sort of thing, and it can help you, but it can also hinder you depending on how you use it. It also makes you go a little bit faster.
Profoundly cruel human being. Like, I love that story because every single time I talk to a developer, it always, like, every single game always starts like, oh, well, we were making, you know, this shooter, we were making this, you know, platformer, and we were working on this really cool mechanic. Like, I hear about something like a game I love, Bastion, which has, like, you know, I put that up there with Enter the Gungeon as something with sprite work from recent years that I just freaking adore. But, like, that game came out of, like, oh, we wanted to make a game about cartography, and it's all, like, mechanical. And I love that this, which is mechanically deeply satisfying, came from people just saying stupid things, and then being like, wait, that stupid thing is genius.
Yeah. Well, the sort of the next step of the game, like as we were like sitting down to design it, is, you know, one of my favorite games is a game called Ikaruga, and we also obviously really like The Binding of Isaac, and while we like Binding of Isaac, we wanted something that was a little bit more fast-paced, and you know, I'm a big bullet hell fan, and we're also big Dark Souls fans. I'm actually wearing a Dark Souls 3 shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it, but anyway.
Nice.
And we were just like talking about a way for the player to be able to manage like really dense bullet patterns, which becomes very much a thing in the later levels. And I don't even remember like having a discussion about it. It was like as soon as somebody said like, well, what if we just dodge roll through the bullets? then we just prototyped it in like an hour or two, and I was like, yeah, that's it, that's the game. And so it's informed how we've designed all the encounters, all the bosses. You actually play later on. You play basically jump rope with these bosses because like all these bullets are flying at you. You jump through them, you back up and fire, and you have to like stay like really on your toes, and it gets very twitchy, you know. And that basically like from there on, it was just off to the races, making guns and enemies and stuff.
Man, the bullet hell shooter is a really, really delicate art, you know? Like, that, it is not easy to make that and have it feel fair. Like, I love Ikaruga, I love Radiant Silvergun, and I love games like that, but, you know, I play something like, have you ever played any of the shooters that are made by HuCast, those guys that keep making Dreamcast games still?
I think I've played one of them, actually, but... Yeah, not in a while.
Not deeply familiar. But, like, you know, they pop in my head because they make these incredibly dense, bullet-ridden stages in games like Last Hope and Ducks, which is, it's not D-U-C-K-S, it's D-U-X, but it sounds ridiculous. It's pronounced the same. It's Ducks. But, like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel as precise as something like Ikaruga or Radiant Silvergun, which still feels fair, even though the screen is just bombed with all of these, like, pellets all over the place.
Well, that's part of the...
How do you do that?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how do you do that? How do you make sure that it feels fair?
I mean, honestly, that's part of the reason that we have to design the rooms by hand, right? Because we have to make sure that, as I was saying before, like, the mixtures of enemies work out in, like, a way that's fair. But the answer is just, honestly, like, playing and prototyping over and over and over again. And, you know, messing with the hitbox of everything. In our game, it's a pixel-perfect collision, so everything has to completely like overlap with you if it's going to hit you. So believe me, if you took damage, it's definitely your fault.
Oh no!
It's fun.
Oh no!
This fight just looks fun.
Oh no!
Really enjoy it.
Why does this guy want? No! Leave me alone! Dave, tell him to go away, man!
Hit both sticks down at once.
I got him. And then I died. And then I beefed it terribly, and my life is over. Man, that was such a good run.
Oh my
God! I had multiple.
All you had to do is shoot him once.
You panicked. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Killed by some goop. Some goop.
Oh yeah, it was on fire. That's what we call all the liquid on the ground. He throws the wine cup and then it catches on fire. Technically, that should probably say fire.
That's just undignified, man. That is just a pit of darkness that I just fell into. Folks, if anybody is out there asking questions in the chat, please pitch them our way. Dave will see them. Ludwig will see them. I will.
Marvelous Mr. D is asking if Enter the Gungeon will be available for Dreamcast, though.
Oh,
so
it will not.
But there's that huge audience. There's that massive Dreamcast audience.
So my problem with releasing on the Dreamcast is actually that there's no copy protection on the Dreamcast. You can just burn a disc and run it.
Yep.
That's actually how I first played Ikaruga.
Dave, no.
It was
surprisingly easy to get imports to run on that, right?
See, yeah, that's totally forgivable. They didn't release it domestically. You couldn't legally play it here.
GD-ROM's downfall.
Man, so Dreamcast, wonderful.
That was the only thing that prevented mass adoption of GD-ROMs.
Yeah. The first time I pirated anything on Dreamcast was a friend of mine gave me a disc, and he was like, "Yeah, man, this will just run on your Dreamcast." And on it was about 500 like NES games, and it's filtered in with all these normal things. I was like, "Oh, I can play Jackal. Awesome! I like Jackal." But then you would come across things that were like, you know, early hacks of like Super Mario Brothers, where all the Goombas had been replaced with dildos, and I was like, why does this exist? Like, the idea of a mod community making lewd things was brand new. It was strange, and so the perils of copy protection-free Dreamcast I associate with Dildonic Mario Brothers. and weird hacks of King of the Fighters. You know what? Inevitably, we are going to get the platform question, Dave. People are going to want to know where they can play this. Right now, it's PC and PS4. Has anything else been announced at this point?
PC, Mac, and Linux, and PS4.
And PS4. But, like, PS4 is it for the console boxes.
Yes. As far as
the people know. As far as people in the land know. Everybody, WonderSwan Enter the Gungeon confirmed here.
I was thinking the Game.com.
Game.com.
Tiger, yeah.
With full voice acting. So Dave, at what point should I start activating the cheats? At what point should I start cheating?
I want to see you beat one of the bosses
beat a
for real.
boss?
I don't think you're going to beat the boss of the second level, but I think you could do the first one.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Well, let's at least get through this life before we warp.
See, now that's a good trainer. He gave you a vote of confidence, but not too much, because he did still pull it back and say, I don't think you're going to beat the second boss.
Man, that is some tricky little level design right there. So you guys will catch up to it in the stream in about 30 seconds, but I am now... Like, I came through a room with a locked door, and then into another room that had a northern passage that seemed like it was parallel to the locked door, and then I go there, and it's like a side hall, which tricked me into a room full of jerks trying to kill me. I love that. I love that sort of deviousness. But, like, is that sort of deviousness part of the random generation? Or is it... Yeah.
Yes, it is part of the random generation. Basically, rather than just having like the rooms sort of laid out, sort of randomly, we built a system that we call, we call them flows. And essentially, on each floor, in addition to having specific rooms designed for the level, we also design these flows. And the flows sort of inform the structure. They inform the structure of the space, but they don't dictate it, if that makes sense. So you're just a few seconds ago on the stream, like you walked into a big room and it has like multiple exits, and it has a teleporter in the center, and that's sort of like a hub where you can like teleport back to and explore new pathways in the area, rather than it just being like a random mess of rooms. It's sort of a little bit more structure. So we wanted it to be. I like to say that we're trying to teach, the procedural generator to make Zelda dungeons. Obviously, we will never get to there, and if we do, then all game designers are out of a job. But we do our best to get as close as possible. So it feels like you're exploring like an actual space that makes some degree of sense, but also that will surprise you.
Dave, this is something like the viewers probably know that I like to ask every single person working on a procedurally generated game this question. Why do you think that a stigma around procedurally generated games persists? Because, it does, and, I find that it's primarily around people who are, like, game obsessives. Like, hardcore game people tend to be like, oh, well, I distrust this. Why?
It's funny that you say that, actually, because probably about a year before we started working on this game, I probably would have told you I will never make a procedurally generated game.
Really?
And the reason for that is because up until in the last couple of years, like I guess I sort of was just like, I guess I was in that camp where I really like you got a mimic where I really like tightly designed spaces and tightly designed experiences. And so at least the procedural generated games I played up to that point, to me, felt just so noticeably like looser, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of like enjoyment out of that. But then as the like new wave of roguelikes came about in the last couple of years, my opinion on that started to change, and that's sort of what got us thinking about like, well, what tools can we leverage to make it feel like a designed experience, so that you don't just get screwed by some crappy level, design, or you don't get the wrong type of potion, or that changes every time you play, like in Rogue or something like that. And so I guess we went on that. To answer your question more directly, though, I think because I was in that camp. I guess it would just come down to like some people, really like very very designed experiences, and And as I was just saying, like if the computer can generate a Zelda dungeon, then we'll all be out of a job. But I don't think we're going to be out of a job for a long time because just like all the levels in Bloodborne, that aren't the Chalice dungeons are definitely better than all of the Chalice dungeons.
Right.
We still have some catching up to do as far as procedural generation goes. That doesn't mean that you can't make a compelling and fun game. I will say making a procedural generated game, but I do think that like hand designing absolutely everything is ultimately going to lead to a more static, but the first time through, potentially a more compelling game. Yeah.
Dave, I am gonna kill this Birdman this time.
You better.
This Birdman has come back into my life, and I'm gonna destroy him.
Remember, it's a gull, not an eagle.
Yeah, I didn't say eagle. This time I just said Birdman, because it's easier to say than gull. Dave, why do you think that changed in the past couple of years? Like, I completely agree with you that there was like this crop of new roguelikes that came out. I would say like starting in 2012. Like, I think like Rogue Legacy is the one that like where I started to notice a sea change. But what happened? Why are we starting to see these games that feel crafted like that? What changed in the tools? What changed in the design philosophies that were proliferating?
Well, I think two things happened. One is just the general rise of the indies, right? I mean, like it's never been easier to make a game. There's so many engines out there that can help you get started, but also it's the rise of the Twitch streamers. Like procedural generated games are like a Twitch streamer's bread and butter. Like so many people make a living off of streaming Binding of Isaac, and you say Rogue Legacy, but I say Binding of Isaac is really the game that like brought it all back. And I mean, our game is super inspired by it. I mean, first and foremost, I'm a card-carrying like Edmund McMillan is my idol. I've never met him. Hopefully, sometime soon I'll be able to meet him and like get a picture with him or something. But yeah, like I think that between like getting these procedurally generated games and getting these people streaming and getting these followings, like people got more interested in, and then that because they were getting successful and people were seeing that success, people were seeing how they could take it to the next level. And answering those questions is stuff like presentation, making a structured feel, making sure it's fair and how fun it is. And so everybody, because more designers were like tasked with the problem, we ended up getting, I think like better designs. So.
Dave.
No, Anthony, as your real test.
Dave, while you said all those intelligent things, I killed that son of a bitch.
Repeat everything that Dave just said. That's your real test.
He said some things about Ed McMillan. Ed McMillan's a streamer, and he read the Bible, and like did a thing, and it's some stuff, and it was real different after he read the Bible, and people were like, "Yeah, it's good," and they made a living reading the good book. That's about it, right? That's how that went. That's how that went.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Man, I feel good about what just happened. I feel like that's like
it's been documented for all to see now.
Yeah, man, that guy didn't even come close to killing me. I destroyed him, and then birds ate him. Did. Yeah, don't worry about it, Ludwig. I brought it down to the wire for the purposes of drama.
Is that elevator is a giant bullet as well, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Dave.
So there's like.
Are there any bullet trains in this?
No, there aren't. But I don't know how we missed that. There are mine carts, but they just look like mine carts. Yeah.
Do you? I guess this. I don't know if this counts as a spoiler or not. I'm almost hesitant to ask. Do you get the gun that will kill the past? Like, do you get to use
that? Is a spoiler. That is a spoiler, but I will just answer it because I don't care. Yes. So in the game, you can choose to play as a few different characters. Each one has some differentiating starting stats, but they also have the biggest difference about them is that they all have a different reason for wanting to kill the past, and so every character in the game has their own final boss that is accessed by doing specific things throughout your run to create a special bullet for them, and then when you fire it at yourself at the end after you've beaten the final boss guarding the gun, then you can shoot it at yourself, go back in time, and fight the real final boss for that character. So we're trying to make it compelling to not only play as all the characters, but also beat the game many times because it is a roguelike and if the replayability wasn't there, it wouldn't matter much.
Do
Yeah,
you,
trying to be a Go ahead.
do you hate people? Because that's the only explanation I have for this room with the spikes and the fire.
You just gotta keep moving, man. Your item just dropped onto the fire. What are you gonna do about it?
I feel like something terrible is at work here. God, this I just had that moment, and this I guess this speaks to the quality of the game and the ramping of the challenge. But I had that moment that you get in any Souls game or Bloodborne or what have you, where you say to yourself, I'm starting to get the hang of this! I feel real good! And then something happens that makes you literally, like your pituitary gland is activated, man. It is engaged.
Hubris must be punished.
Hubris must be punished.
Oh! So one mechanic that I don't think I told you about, and the tutorial doesn't tell you about, is if you press both sticks down at the same time, you'll set off a shmup-style bomb, which will delete all the enemy bullets on the screen. It's the blue bullets that are under your health. It's an item called the blanks.
Oh, I gotta use that. I gotta start using that. Oh, I found some kind of crazy statue here. A shrine to a prideful bullet angel now fallen. Offer a blood sacrifice. If I offer him a blood sacrifice, will I die?
No, it takes a heart container, full or not.
Oh. Yeah. I feel stronger. I'll do it. I don't even care.
So you just got about a 20% damage buff across the board.
Oh, that's... Hey, Dave, I died in the next room. You see it.
Well done.
You see it right now. I beefed it. I beefed it pretty hard. I just died.
Yeah.
Just died,
well
but
done.
good. Well, I made it to the second level. I am not going to bust out any cheats at this point, man.
You could definitely get through the first level now. You're skilling up, man.
Oh wow! Oh wow! I got kicked all the way back. That's fine. That's fine. Hey, why do I have a key when I kick things off here? Now that I'm back. Like, is that a standard starting item?
Yes. Every character starts with at least one key. All of the good chests are locked. So if you open a chest with a key, you get whatever was going to be in that chest. If you don't have a key, you can shoot the chest open and break it open, but you have a chance of getting nothing, and whatever you do get will be of a lower item quality than you would have got. There's 5 different chests in the game. Wood, green, blue, black, and red. And black and green are gun chests, and blue and red are item chests. So you sort of know, like, if you want to use the key on it, once you learn the game, that is.
So, some folks in the chat were asking long ago, before my rise and prideful fall, my Citizen Kane, my Charles Foster Kane moment in Enter the Gungeon, whether it's better to use a controller or a mouse and keyboard. I do not know how the hell anybody could play this with a mouse and keyboard comfortably. I think I'm going
So it's fun. You know, that's actually a really funny question. When we were first designing the game, we definitely designed it for mouse and keyboard. I think it feels really good on a mouse and keyboard. But we were just like, it's never going to work on a controller. It'll never work on a controller. And then we actually just sat down and tried to make it work on a controller, and it turns out that pretty much everyone on the team agrees that we like it better on the controller now. However, in terms of what's better, I don't know. That's a hard question. I think it's probably whatever you're most comfortable with. If you play it with a controller, there is some aim assist that we had to put on because it's too precise to use without it. It's actually an option in the menu if you want to see what it's like playing without the aim assist. It's your funeral, but yeah, we did a lot of work to try to make the aim assist feel supernatural and really kind of understand what you were trying to aim at. So on keyboard and mouse, there is no aim assist, but because you have a pointer, you don't really need it because you can just click on them. So
it's really funny. Like I have never at any point in my life been like a PC first, player. I did not even build my first PC until about a year ago, and so when I play a shooter using a PC, using a mouse and keyboard, and there's no aim assist, I can usually feel that difference immediately. Like, I just, like, it's right there in my face, and you're like, oh, of course there's something helping me here, or not helping.
Yeah.
If you had not
Absolutely.
said that there was some aim assist going on here, I would not have noticed it. Like,
Well, that is definitely good to hear, because that was our goal. Like, it's funny though. Occasionally, somebody will be like, "Oh, they'll play it for like 1 second, be like, "Oh, you're using aim assist," and I'm like, "Are you a robot? Like, how did you know?" But I'm sure some people will. Very sensitive and like hardcore gamers will definitely notice. But hopefully, it doesn't get in the way. I certainly don't. I think it's really just there so you actually are hitting what you're trying to hit. It doesn't feel like you're, like, hopefully, and I hope you will agree, like, it doesn't feel like it's locking on to anything. It just sort of is hitting the things you're aiming at, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It never feels like it's trapping you into fighting just this one enemy, and all of a sudden, if you need to shift away from them, that you're trapped in some way. That definitely doesn't have that feel. Also, I want to go back to something you just said, Dave. Are you saying I'm not a hardcore gamer? You said it's good for hardcore gamers, and now I'm some kind of chump.
I'm saying super hardcore people who can detect aim assist in 1 second. I'm not there either, man.
I'm not. No, I am, dude. I'm fucking around. I am not. I am the last person that would ever be referred to as a hardcore gamer. I am a guy who, like, the extent of my hardcoreness is that I continue to buy, like, I continue to buy shmups, like old shmups, like Raystorm.
You busted out some shmup knowledge a minute ago. I was like, wow, cool.
I buy them like the way that people buy prints of art. It's like I'm never getting past the second level in this thing. I hate that. Like man,
I always get stuck on the second level of most art.
Yeah.
I never go to
a
museums
museum
anymore.
And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not
can't
gonna
get
go up
past
the
this.
stairs.
Trapped here. Trapped here for all days.
So Duke in the chat asked if there was any consideration for a physical release, which I think it's probably too early to think about that, but we have been seeing some cool indies coming out in physical versions.
Yeah, there is. Well, so there's the indie box, which I have chatted with. They do, and I mean, personally, I would love to have a physical release. I think that's really cool. I mean, this is our first game as a team, and like to be able to like have a box and like print it on the wall, like that would be awesome. So if we can do it,
to waste the space capacity of a Blu-ray disc by putting a smaller game on it.
yeah, no, we'll just have a USB stick inside the box. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do it. But really, it's a consideration for probably after the release of the digital copy. Wow, you got mimicked again.
Yeah, dude. I was about to yell at you, and I was like, he didn't do it directly on purpose to me as a person. It wasn't malicious. That doesn't make it any easier. I smoked that mimic though. I'm feeling good about this run, man. I'm feeling very good. And I know that hubris is usually punished, but I think I got many guns. I got all the guns.
Actually, a fun fact about that: the last time you played the game, when we were on, the summit, we there was a limit on the number of guns you can carry, but we actually recently redesigned the way our ammo and like scarcity system works, and now you can actually hold an infinite number of guns. So if you hold down triangle or Y on your Xbox controller, you can. We are PlayStation exclusive, by the way. You can. If you hold that down, it'll bring up a Metal Gear style menu where you can actually, it slows down the game super hardcore, and you can select any gun you have, and then whatever you had selected last, if you just tap Y, it'll switch back to it. So it solves the problem of you running out of ammo, because instead of giving you ammo, we just give you more guns.
Dave,
I see you got the advisor pretty quickly this time.
I literally just walked in and just immediately killed the advisor.
Yes, that's what you gotta do.
To hell with that little schmuck.
He was probably really upset because he's like, oh, thank goodness someone is going to attack the king. I don't have to deal with this.
Right.
This is not my problem.
He didn't know he was getting into with me, man. Boom! Suck it, Bullet King! I'm not sure what it is because this is a family show, but you could go ahead and suck whatever it might be, you jerkus.
The barrel of a gun. Let me help you out there.
Wow, that got dark fast. Dave, Hoplon42 here in the chat is asking one of my all-time favorite questions, too, is, since you're a PlayStation exclusive, what are you doing with the light bar? You getting weird with the light bar?
Yeah, you guys tell me, what should we do? I have no idea what to do with it. I mean, maybe if the room's darker, we could, like, turn it up for you. So you can see your shoes.
This is a legitimate question. In order to get certified for a PlayStation release, do you have to do something with the light bar? Like,
no.
No?
No.
They're not making that
I guess
happen?
you might have to make sure it's on the whole time. I have no idea. But no, I don't think you have to do any custom thing with it. We're super open to that, like as long as it doesn't get in the way. But we're just trying to build the game right now. We just got Rumble in, so now when explosions go off, it rumbles the controller.
Nice.
So that's exciting. As far as the light bar goes, maybe we could do like when you shoot, it lights up a little bit more or something. I don't know. I haven't given it much thought, honestly. I'm much more focused on creating the video game. Sorry, I feel like I'm throwing some serious shade on the light bar.
In fairness, like you have to understand that question is always to be like, how will this developer make fun of the light bar? Like, what will happen when they respond to this question? Yeah, I always find like the rules, and usually like the weird rules for certification disappear after the first year of, you know, a console's release. But I know, like in 2013, for example, that you were not allowed to ship a PlayStation 4 game at launch without making sure that remote play was like perfect. Remote play needed to work, absolutely. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but I find restrictions like that fascinating.
Yeah, so the actual certification process, which I'm not even sure I'm allowed to go into much detail about, but that's okay because I didn't read it, is definitely very long. It's like 38 pages or something like that. It's all kinds of stuff that you would like never think would be a real thing. I don't have some specific examples in that, but I know in like Nintendo, you could never write out the button, you had to show it. On Xbox, you could never have a static screen for more than like 6 seconds or something like that. Like all these things that like while you're building the game, you're not even thinking about, and it's like, oh, we have to add like an icon on the screen that we otherwise didn't have to do.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah. But for us, and like a lot of it has to do, you know, it's quality control, and I completely understand it, especially in the first couple years of a console while they're like developing the brand, you know. So I don't think any of it's unreasonable. That said, it is incredibly time-consuming. So that's part of the reason that like companies, you know, hire porting teams is to get it through certification, like certification in time. So like, you know, you look at a company like, you know, any large company that's making a game, and they're releasing it on 5 platforms or something, and they have the engineers to make sure it works on all the systems, but they might not have the bandwidth to make sure it works on all the systems and passes this incredibly complicated 100-step, 38-page TRC requirement. So what they do is hire porting companies, and we are actually we have a team that is going to help us. Like the game runs on PlayStation 4. It's on the show floor at PAX Prime here on PlayStation 4, but it certainly wouldn't pass TRC requirement right now. But we're having a team that's going to help us do that. So yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't think you have to do anything with the light bar. We do want to do some stuff where like the speaker will bark at you on certain things. But other than that, and hopefully that'll, you know, we'll do our best to make it all tunable. Somebody asked if we could dim the light bar. I think the system lets you dim the light bar.
You can do that in the system level. You can't turn it off, but you can dim it.
Yeah, it does get pretty dark though. I don't think it's. I dimmed it, so it's not very.
It helps that it's
me.
facing away from you as well.
Just ruins that bloodborne atmosphere.
Yeah.
Dave, have you ever done any porting work? I mean, what's your history in game development, man? How did you get into this?
So basically, what happened was, excuse me, I was graduating college, and I had just signed up to to teach English in Japan, and I took one last class just to kill some time, which was a game design class, and the teacher ended up being a producer at Bioware Mythic.
What?
And yeah, so I just schmoozed my ass off and asked for a job, and basically got an interview, and I like started updating their Facebook page and like doing their Twitter account, and but I just kept like going over to the design teams and just like annoying the hell out of them.
What you guys doing over here? What's happening?
Yeah, you guys making a video game? What's going on here? And yeah, so I just did that for a long time, and then eventually they like gave me access to the design tools and various things like that. So when they came, it came time to be like, oh, we need another designer. Somebody was like, well, what about that guy who's always over here bugging us? So they gave me a job, and then I was working there for a while. But yeah, I was just at Mythic, and then obviously Mythic imploded, and we were pretty much ready to go by that point anyway. I mean, the writing was on the wall, and so we just the four of us banded together like basically right away, like immediately after the fall of Mythic, and then we started on Gungeon like very quickly after that. We had some other prototypes, but we decided to go for this first.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's incredibly, like, that is the most, I mean, obviously, like, you have this wonderful circumstance where you're like, I'm going to take this class, I'm going to do this thing, and it's just this perfect confluence of this person being there at that time. And that's a wonderful story, but, like, every single time, I ever see anybody say, how do I get into the games industry, whether that's on the development side or the business end or journalism or anything, you did exactly the thing that everybody has to do, which is annoy the crap out of somebody. Like, be annoying to the person who wants you, like, whose job you want, and just keep doing it. That's awesome, man. That's a really cool journey to get there. That's and look what it has yielded. I mean, I would not be in the Gungeon if you'd gone off to Japan to teach English. It just like you'd be sitting around, you'd be like, yeah, I bought this old Satellaview cartridge for Super Nintendo, and it was cool, man. I taught, it was great. See, now I'm just making fun of my old roommate who taught English in Japan, did exactly that. Yeah, I had a girlfriend for a while. Yeah, that's great, man. Great. Awesome. Tell me all about the cool rice cooker you bought, you dingus.
I do have a cool rice cooker, though.
Oh, dude. You have an awesome rice cooker, though? That's perfect.
Yeah, it sings to you when you turn it on.
Wait, what?
But yeah, it sings Mary Had a Little Lamb when you turn it on, and it sings Twinkle Twinkle Little Star when you're done.
Oh, that's awesome. That's actually... All right, so the night before, Ludwig and I played... by the way, you guys will see it, I died after a heroic journey through the second level. I was feeling really good about that one. So the night before, we were freezing on the rooftop, and you were demonstrating to us the Gungeon. We were kidnapped by Konami and brought to their campus in Los Angeles. I say kidnapped because, yes, it was a demo for Metal Gear Solid 5 and Pro Evolution Soccer, but we were not allowed to leave. We were not allowed to go to the bathroom unaccompanied. There was somebody standing in the hallway to the bathroom, making sure that you didn't go anywhere else. And you, weren't allowed to call a cab. If you were like, no, look, I'm not going to play Pro Evolution Soccer for an hour, they were like, no, you have to do that. So, at one point, when I was like, man, this is a weird situation, but Metal Gear is fun, I did, the call of nature took place, and I went to the bathroom, expecting a completely normal bathroom experience. And yet inside was a toilet that was both heated and played music and spoke when you flushed it.
Oh yeah, that's the Toto Neo rest. I know about that toilet.
Dude, that toilet, that is a luxurious experience. Dude.
It's amazing.
Like, I was sitting there and I was like, there are all kinds of lights coming out of it, and the warmth factor cannot be overstated, and it does indeed play like soft classical music for you. So like, I'm saying, if I could have a home with your rice cooker and the Konami toilet, I would love that. It would be amazing.
Well, you know you've made it when you spend a lot of money on something that you're going to poop on.
Right. That's the moment. That's the moment of true success. That's the moment of true success. You know, Dave, this is a question I know might be a little annoying, because nobody wants to talk about their dream game because they want to make their dream game one day. But how close is Enter the Gungeon to what you envisioned in your head as the ideal thing you could work on when you got into game development? Is this the game that you wanted to build?
Well, that's a really good question. So as I was saying earlier on the stream, you know, about a year before we started working on Gungeon, I would have told you that I wouldn't ever make a procedurally generated game. So the answer to your question is no. When I first got into games, I definitely was not thinking about making a game like Enter the Gungeon. I think, you know, we've learned a great deal about procedural generation during making this game. I think anyone who has sought, or, you know, decided that they want to make a procedurally generated game, like, I think they're all like soaked in development blood. I mean, any game developer is, but like, man, there's some hurdles. As far as like the dream, I think Gungeon is the most fun thing. I believe, you know, and I don't want to sound conceited, but like, I have more fun legitimately playing Gungeon than I do, you know, its contemporaries. And if I know some people will agree with me. So I think that, like, we've done a pretty good job. Like, I'm not saying it couldn't be better, but, like, whether you prefer, you know, any of the other style of game, or other games that are, like, sort of in our space, like, I think we're at least, like, you know, comparable to, like, these other amazing games. Right. And considering it's our first stab at it, like, I'm certainly proud of it. The game that I want to make, like, really want to make, is I want to bring back Thief for real.
Oh man! Wow, that's a big goal. That's a mighty difficult thing to do. I would love it if you did that. That would make me really happy. But like, I mean, you think that, you know, Dodge Roll will build in that direction? Do you think that, like, you guys have done this and, you know, provided the time and the resources that you would build like a big stealth RPG like that?
No, because it would cost $1 billion.
Right.
But if somebody was stupid enough to give me that money, then I would definitely spend it on that. No, I don't know if we'll ever be able to do that. We're taking it one step at a time. We do have a few other ideas. I know that for our next game, we're going to try to make something a little more focused and a little shorter on a development cycle, just to, like, clean our palate. I mean, like, probably very short, and then we'll talk about getting back into doing, like, another maybe like year to year and a half, like, development cycle.
Enter the gun foyer.
Yeah, exit the Gungeon.
Yeah, man. It's funny, like, that question of, if somebody gave us, you know, $96 million to make a game, I would make blah blah blah. Ooh, what did I get? Radiation laser, hold to pop balloons. Cool. Very cool. I like the fact that I have not, like, in all the guns that I've found in chests, I've never found the same gun. Like, I've always found something different. How many, like, God, this is the worst game developer interview.
How many guns do you have?
It's the worst question. That is the shittiest question you can ask. Hey, how many guns do you have?
It's not as bad as how many levels are there.
Yeah. No, how many guns do you have is definitely our most common question after when is it coming out? Early 2016, by the way. And what's it coming out for? PS4, PC, Mac, Linux, is how many guns we have. We currently have about 160. Our goal is to get to 200 by the time we release. But it's going to be like give or take, because if like we come up with a great idea that turns out to be complete, crap, then we're going to take it out of the game, because at this point we have sort of all the bread and butter games, and now we're just working on bread and butter guns. Now we're just working on insane stuff. Like one of the ones that I've been wanting to get in forever is like you shoot a shark fin, and then when it hits the enemy, like a shark pops out of the ground and eats them. Or like you throw steaks on the ground and tigers come out. I've got like a whole animal theme set of guns that I want to do.
Awesome.
But I don't know if we'll be able to do them. They might be terrible. They might be too hard to make. I'm not sure, But we're certainly trying to get a little crazy. Like you've been in the earlier areas of the game, you're more likely to get,
a wide variety.
Well, it's a wide variety, but it's also like you're getting guns that aren't going to be too overpowered for the area you're in. And as you survive and get deeper into the Gungeon, you'll the chests. As I said, there was 5 different kinds of chests. The chests will switch over into like the top tier versions, and then those will drop like some of the stronger guns that will let you contend with a lot of the more difficult enemies.
Are you going to have New Game Plus, I think, is the wrong word. But are you going to have, a dick around mode? Is there going to be, here, have all the guns, there are checkpoints now, go out there and have fun, you kids? Is there going to be that sort of thing?
Probably, certainly not at launch. We definitely want to do a few different modes. We want to do an infinite mode, we want to do a boss rush mode, something to do with, crazy guns, absolutely. And I actually... but probably not at launch. But literally, as I was saying that, I forgot about one thing that will sort of allow you to do that, which is there's a special NPC that you can find and rescue in the Gungeon, and not in this build. She's not in this build. She's a sorceress. But in the final game and in the builds that we're playing, every time you beat bosses, you get a meta currency, and the meta currency can be spent at these shops that are in the foyer.
Oh.
And when you It's something we've actually never shown, because it's a lot easier to communicate, hey, roguelike, than here's all this other stuff you can do. But there is a whole other dimension to spending your money to unlock guns. You don't unlock the guns guaranteed. It's more like Binding of Isaac, where they get seeded into the loot pool. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is because the sorceress, you can pay this meta currency to, and she gives you a special gun that you can play with for that run. And it basically changes the gun after you kill 2 enemies, and it's just randomly changing all the time. So that is one way that you can do that, but you have to rescue her first, which will require getting farther in the game.
I would like to point out that even though he didn't attack me during the boss, I still felt it necessary to kill the advisor, because
man.
to screw that guy.
So advisors are always evil. We know this.
They're always evil. They're always Jafaring out.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
a verb for all the people. Oh wow.
Yeah, he's gonna turn into a viper.
I'm now using the laser for the first time, and it's deeply satisfying. Everybody, we only have about 7 minutes left on today's stream. If you have any questions about the game that you would like to ask, please get them out there. Ludwig will ask them, because my ability to look at the chat while doing this is not great. I'm not able to do that very well. Ooh, this sucks! The laser's not good for this!
So one person in the chat is making the joke, Gungeons and Dragons. That's pretty funny to us, because we always sort of envisioned this game as a D&D adventure meets a bullet hell game, and actually the final boss that guards the gun that can kill the past is called the Dragon, and he's a gigantic dragon sitting in a pool of lava who pulls out Uzis the size of cars, and yeah, it's pretty cool. We haven't shown that yet though, so.
Existence _ is asking, will there be a Vita version?
We would love to get it on Vita, but right now it's just so much work to get the game done and make sure that it runs well on PlayStation 4 and get it through certification. If probably what it's going to come down to is if the game does well, then we would probably pursue doing a Vita version in some capacity. But even then, I'm not totally sure, just because of we haven't really looked into it too much, and the game actually is a little bit more demanding than it looks. So I'm not sure. We just don't know. I have a Vita. I'd love to get it on there. If it's possible, we'll do it. But as of right now, I certainly can't commit to it.
Dave, what the hell is up with the Vita, man? Like, I love the Vita. Ludwig loves the Vita. Every single developer I have ever talked to loves the Vita. Why don't normal people want the PlayStation Vita? What do they not understand about this magical device?
I don't know. I think it's people that don't like Persona. And if you don't like Persona, then you can just get out.
It's just, like, come on, man. Like, anything that will allow me to play the Misadventures of Tronbon, like, Luftrausers and Persona 4 at the same time without leaving my bed. That is a magical device. That is too
and the
good for this world. That screen!
The screen is so nice.
I don't get why that game doesn't, that console, that machine, that box doesn't sell, at all. Like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Second level.
I read that it sold like a tenth as well as the PSP.
Oh, yeah. And the PSP, the PSP was never great shakes in the United States or Europe.
Yeah.
But it killed in Japan for a long time. But there was Monster Hunter to fuel that. There was like a thing to sort of push it over the top. And I guess that, like, to that extent, Senran Kagura is not exactly lighting the Vita market on fire in Japan. At least that I know of.
I don't know. I think it's a wonderful handheld. It's my favorite handheld ever. It feels great. The screen's great. Like, it has a great selection of games that I like.
Yeah.
But I don't know if maybe it's just the selection isn't games that everybody likes. I mean, to me, like, I can hold a Vita all day, but like if I hold a 3DS for an hour, I get the claw hand.
Oh, big time. Man,
so I don't know. I mean,
go ahead.
So I don't know. I like it. I wish there was, more stuff for it. As a developer, I wish it was maybe a little bit more powerful. But maybe we'll get a Vita too. But considering how it sold, like, I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already sitting there thinking about, like, the person who is like 16 right now, like the person born in 1999, and who is sitting around, and I can smell the think piece essay that I'm going to read on my eyeball implant in 2025. When they're getting into game journalism, and they're like, 2015 was the greatest year in gaming because of the Vita and Wii U, and they were the underappreciated magic consoles of tomorrow, and everybody should have played them, and here are the lists of classic things that were on those systems. They are the Dreamcasts of tomorrow, everybody. Which is sad. We're going to start wrapping it up here.
It sounds like a Werner Herzog kind of like saying. It's like, are we not all the Dreamcast of tomorrow?
Are we not always the Dreamcast?
Are we all not just legacy hardware waiting to be discontinued one day?
Watching the unsung console heroes drift into the distance like so many fallen autumn leaves. Dave, is there anything else you would like to tell the peoples of the land about Enter the Gungeon before we sign off?
I think we covered most of the big points. It's I hope you like dodge rolling.
Get ready to freaking dodge roll, everybody.
Yeah.
On that note, if you guys want to stay in touch with Dodge Roll Games and Enter the Gungeon and find out what that specific date is in early 2016 when they're going to make this magic, go to Twitter. It's twitter.com/DodgeRollGames, and you can see what the hell they're up to. Dave, this has been a freaking treat, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
You were talking before about how you feel that you've made this very good entry in a style of game that it holds up. And I gotta say, I can judge like, I play a lot of games on this stream, and I'm playing them for the first time when I do. And I played this a little on a freezing rooftop, but, like, I would consider this the first time I've spent serious time with it. And I think that the mark of something really, really well-made is the fact that not only am I able to play it while talking to you, but that I can actually get better. That there is a set of internal rules and logic at work that is clear and able to understand inside this awesome art, and I can't wait, man. This game looks great.
Thank you so much, man. And it really has been like I've had to do lots of interviews and lots of streams over this year promoting this game, and I gotta say, this is probably the most fun I've had, so I very much appreciate you
that's awesome.
having me on.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You will be back when
Awesome.
early 2016 rolls around, and I need instructions on how to finally get past the second level. Everybody, that makes it 6 p.m. Here on How It's Done. My name is Anthony John Agnello, Senior Social Editor at Games Radar. You have been hanging out with me, Dave Crooks of Dodge Roll Games, and Games Radar's Editor-in-Chief, Ludwig Kitzman. If you enjoyed this show, follow the ever-loving bejesus out of us. There's a little heart. There's a little heart below the player. You should click it, and I'm going to take it real personal. I'm going to be like, they love me! This is it! Mom, I have a girlfriend! I'm married. I'm happily married. That heart doesn't mean anything, but it will let you know when we go live. We have many more shows for you where you're here Monday through Thursday. Next Monday, we're going to be playing a shitload of Metal Gear Solid 5, because that's what people are going to be doing on Monday. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing when I get back.
Right? That's all anybody's doing. That's all anybody's doing. We are at PAX this weekend. That lovely blonde fellow you see on the screen, Ludwig
Come
Kitzman.
to my panels.
Come to his panels. If you want to find out about the panels, go to GamesRadar.com.
I have a panel about Metal Gear Solid.
Do you?
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
What's the deal? Tell
It's just
the people.
about the end of an era. Like, now that Metal Gear is over, now that Silent Hill is over.
Oh?
When is it? I
There's
want
an end of an era in games.
Well, tell.
When is
It's
the
on
panel?
Monday.
It's on
Monday,
Awesome.
12:30.
Metal Gear Solid is the game that made me want to make video games. I completely love it, and I was watching that latest trailer, Metal Gear Solid 5, and just tearing up, man.
Oh, man,
Ugh.
right? Going through.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, here's my question for you, man. Oh, original Metal Gear Solid or Twin Snakes? Where do you fall on this?
So, I've had this conversation many times. For me, I'll never be able to shake it. It has to be Metal Gear Solid 1. Mechanically, Twin Snakes is definitely better because it pulls all the stuff from Metal Gear Solid 2. However, they did break two of the bosses, which aren't ever meant to be played in first person.
Right.
Person.
Yeah, it's the fight with Rex and it's the fight with Revolver Ocelot, both of which can be killed without moving, which drove me crazy. Also, despite the fact that they made Mei Ling way less racist, I still prefer the one in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Me too. I like old Mei Ling. Man, so like, so we have a new video series at Games Radar. If you guys want to hear us talk about GameCube games, we have an awesome new video series called GameCube Prison. GamesRadar.com. Ludwig, would you please pop the link into the chat to that first episode? But we're going to be doing an episode on Twin Snakes. And I sold my copy of it years ago. And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, why did I sell that? Why do I not... this seems really good. Why did I not like this as much as the original? And so I've been playing it again for the first time in like a decade. And as soon as you get on that elevator, right after the very first room in the game, and like rap beats started playing over everything, I was like, oh god, that's
Like, what's
why.
happening?
That's why. Damn you, Twin Snakes. All right, everybody, we're out. You can see
link
it on
is in
your
the chat.
screen. There is a schedule of when we'll be back. There's lots of excitement next week. We're going to be playing Ali 2 with Roll 7, and we're going to be playing a bizarre Wii U game called Runbow. All kinds of shit. It's going to be great. Follow us. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.